This is Sifu, a game about combat, experience and, interestingly, age. As you will see, age plays a very important part within this game. Since in a world of martial arts, Sifu is all about the challenge of Kung Fu, pitting yourself against a raft of opponents. The game is set to release in February of 2022, however the developers were kind enough to send me an early preview version of the game, and that's what we're going to look at in this video. Now, about that age thing. Every time you die in Sifu, instead of losing a life, your character will actually age. On the first death, they will age by 1 year, on the second death by 2 years, on the third death by 3 years. Basically, the age will increase by a factor of one extra year every time you die. This will basically continue all the way into the 70s, when the character's in his 70s, at which point it will effectively be game over and you'll have to try and start from the beginning again. Now, on this video I was in two minds as to how to actually present it. There was three options. One was to do a complete playthrough of the preview build. My other thought on this was to do an overview after having played the preview build a number of times. The third thought on this that I had was to try and play on the whole age thing and show the game from various perspectives. So me, Obsidian Ant, I'm 45 years old. This is my first playthrough of the game, no experience of it at all right up to this point. This is just how things went on my initial play. In a minute, I'll show you a second playthrough, this time from my daughter, aged 16. So yeah, just a bit of fun to see really how far we got through on our first playthroughs, and straight away you can see me not doing it too well, eh? Kind of finished me off there. So over on the left you can see some skills we can upgrade to. We'll have a slight closer look at that in a minute, although not too much of a close look just yet. As we come back to life, you can see the character is now 21 instead of 22, and we're going to try and finish off these people. But already a bit down, and now up to 23. Unfortunately, it doesn't go too well for me, and what we're going to do is put some comparisons on the screen. There's some text on the side. So yeah, basically a bit of fun showing what age each player is at a specific stage in the game. So right here, 23 going into the main part, or the first part of the club. Well, let's see what age everyone else is. Over the back, there's going to be a sub-boss in just a moment, but we've got to get past these characters first. Yeah. Multiple people attacking us like a typical Kung Fu movie, and like any good Kung Fu movie, they're all waiting their turn, but unlike any good Kung Fu action star, I'm really not doing too well and taking a lot of punishment here, so age 26 already. Unfortunately, this went on for a little while. It's got my ass kicked a bit too much. Finally managed to get to the first sub-boss over by the DJ, at which point my character was aged 30. Now, as with any of these type of games, at least for me, my first playthrough can be rather messy as I try and get used to the controls and try and figure out the best way of actually playing it. Now, I'm not sure how that goes for you guys. For me, it means things are fairly slow on the initial playthroughs and I might not get through too far. Same has always been the case whether I'm playing Street Fighter, Tekken, or, well, even Sifu here, but I suppose I'll make better work on the rest of the playthroughs. 41 then, after defeating this sub-boss. After the sub-boss, there's a second room behind the main stage for the club, and this, for me, proved to be the final area. I just couldn't get any further. Look at the guy's big beard here. 54 years old, hair getting long, greying, and, well, just everything's providing a little bit too much of a challenge, unfortunately. Well, we finished that person off anyway. But as you can see, I didn't make it that much further. 71 years of age already. This one's really been making short work of me, and there we are, dead. Not to the surprise of my daughter there, she found that particularly amusing. Right, second playthrough then, this time by my daughter, and she does infinitely better than me, actually. Surprise, surprise, eh? So as you should be able to tell from the animations here, the combat system is pretty darn robust. There's definitely a sensation of kinetic feelings behind all the movements, a sensation of impact, both when being hit as well as when hitting the enemies. And this can take place whether they're kicking you or punching you, or even when you get impacted against some of the environmental elements. You really notice that. So my daughter here was 26 years old when completing the first sub-boss. Yeah, doing much better than me already, right? And there we go. So at various areas throughout the game you can find artifacts like this. You can pick these up. They're rewards that will allow you to upgrade the abilities of your character, and you can see you can apply these to various parts of your skill sets. Unfortunately, I found it a little bit hard to judge just how effective the skill sets are, largely because the preview build here is relatively short. Whilst it's certainly long enough to give you a feel for the game, it's not really long enough, at least in my experience, in my feelings of this, to really give you an experience or sensation of just how effective the character building is and the various skill sets are. That, of course, is something that will become more readily apparent when the game goes into its full release in February of 2022. Now, you may remember that the original release date for this game was 2021. That was delayed into the end of February 2022, but recently brought forward again a little bit, so that will be releasing on the 8th. Not too far away, I guess, at this point. At any rate, you can see how my daughter's doing here, much better than me, already getting significantly further through the preview build here. And these big bouncers, they can be quite a problem. If they grab hold of you, they will do some pretty significant damage. The thing to really watch out for here is to make sure they don't grab you. If they grab you, they effectively throw you into the ground. There we go, and yeah, that hurts. Anyway, looks like she's got them beat, or just about. There we go. So the club is relatively large. Not going to show all of it in this particular playthrough, but I will be back with another video and we'll try and do a full playthrough right there. Basically, for this one I wanted to point out the fun aspects of the game that show what it's like from different players' points of view, both from myself as well as from my daughter. At any rate, it seems it's possible to complete this preview build in around about 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but that will depend upon your skill level. This guy is effectively the final boss for the preview build. There is a little bit more content after this, but really he provides quite a challenge, at least as far as I could see here. But this is something we'll come back to in the next video. We'll have a closer look there and touch on some of the other elements. And you saw almost my daughter using a particular skill there. If you use the right trigger, you can access specific skills, and these can do extra damage or even stun your opponent. Haven't seen me use it too much, obviously, because it was an initial playthrough, and there you can see sort of hitting the guy in the face there, potentially stunning them or potentially blinding them. And we're getting down to just a few more resurrections here. Over on the right, you can still see the extra skills that can be purchased. Looks like a couple of those got purchased. And here we go. Let's see how this one plays out. Now, I've got to admit that I really do feel the aging characteristics here of this game really do add a nice element to things. In a way, this has a number of characteristics. First, it allows you to measure your progress, so how old are you, how young are you, for each point that you make through the game. So when you first play through, did you manage to become an old man in the first room like I did, or did you manage to defeat the first boss at a very young age? So I'm going to come back for another look at Sifu very soon in another video, where I'll do a bit more of a regular playthrough of the preview build that we got access to here. Overall then, the idea for this video was to give some highlights, show some highlights, and give some initial impressions of how things actually play out. So hopefully that's been interesting to you, and we'll catch you in the next video.